So let's take a look at variables. So as you can see, we have a box and we have a label called person. So each and every person has a name and each and every person has an age. Okay, so we're storing all of this inside the person variable. So a person has a name, has an age, and has a surname. So that's how a variable behaves. You are storing everything inside of that box. So you name the box and you have the things inside. Same thing with numbers. We have different numbers. Okay, so we can store different kinds of numbers. You can store 1, you can store maybe a float like a 0 point something, and you can store long numbers. So a variable is something that acts as a container. In this lesson, we're going to focus on variables. Now, since we already explained what variables are, let us get into the coding examples. So let's say we want to store my name inside a variable, inside a certain box. Now, in JavaScript, we have certain rules that we should follow when working with variables. There's certain words that you should not use. The words are reserved just for JavaScript. Now, these words are, there's a lot of them. There are special characters that only JavaScript uses. You cannot use these words, such as name, such as function, such as maths, set, and etc. So we can only use 3 variables. We have var, we have let, and we have const. But var is not used anymore. It's outdated. It's the old-fashioned way of assigning. So we now use let and we use const. Now, let is used when you want to change the value later. And const, this will always remain constant. You cannot change the value. So what do I mean by this? Well, let me show you. So let's say I want to set my name, So my name is Sipho. So what we did here is we just stored this value here into my name. Now, I need you to pay attention to the quotes. You see, I used single quotations because that's how you store strings in JavaScript. It will give us an error if I don't have quotations. Okay, so for text or for strings, we must use single quotations or double quotations. Either ways, it does not matter, but normally we use single quotations. So now that we've stored this name inside my name, we can now display this on the console. Now, the best way to display it is we can say console.log. So we are logging this into the console. So since this word Sipho is stored inside the my name, we can now call my name. Once we write my name here, we want to print out what is inside my name. So we can just call it my name. Remember, in JavaScript, we always end a statement with a semicolon. So now that we've done this, we are now printing out whatever we have stored inside my name. So if we save this, we'll see here on the console, we can see my name, which is Sipho. So we called this out and we stored it. We stored the name Sipho, we stored inside my name. Okay, so that's simple. Now, what happens if I use the const? So if I say const my name and I make it double quotations and say it who can we say, Emmanuel, or maybe Paul, anyone, any name you can think of. Okay, and we run this. So we log this and we call my name again. What do you think will happen? We get Paul again here. The reason why this is running is because this name and this name, they are not really the same. That is why here in our rules, we say that our naming should be case sensitive. So you must pay careful attention to how you name your variables. So if we can change this and make it the same, you see we get a red line right here telling us that we have an error. Our names are the same. So this is already available. Okay. So if we save this and we check here on our console, it will tell us that the name already is declared. So you must be careful when you are naming your variables. So another rule that we must pay attention is that our namings should be meaningful. For instance, if we want to say my name, it should be meaningful. People must be able to understand, so that when you're working within a team, people will understand what your code does. We can't say MN like that. Who knows what MN stands for? Okay. So another thing with const, before we get to const, let's just remove this for now. So back to the let variable. We can also do this. We can assign a new value to the name. Okay. We can assign a new value to the name and we can say this guy's name is now Gift. When we save this, you will see that the name is still printing Sipho because we did not run it through the console. So if you want to see the output, you must always run the console. Now if we copy this and we paste it here and we save it, we can see that this has overwritten the initial name. So it went from Sipho because we saved it as Sipho first, and then it now ran the second name, which was now initialized to Gift, and it printed that out. But using const, it does not work the same. So when we use const, you must state the const declaration, and we can say age, and my age is 26. Now the difference between a string and a number. Using numbers, we don't use quotations like a string. If we add a quotation, this will be treated as a string. This number will be treated as a string. But we don't use quotations because a number is a number. So now, if I print this out, it should give me 26. If I print out age, it should give me 26. There you go. We get a number of 26. But let's try to reassign it again like we did with the my name variable. Now, if I say age and I store another number at say 29, and we run it again through the console, we get an error saying that we cannot assign another value because it's already assigned and it's a constant. Right here, here's the error. Assignment to constant variable. So this is a constant variable. It is always going to be constant. You cannot change it on a later stage. So if you want to have something that you will change later, you must always use let.